pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And remain standing. As a legislative authority in Asheville, we impact the lives of families, businesses, and schools. With such a weighty responsibility, we believe it is wholly appropriate to petition for help from a higher authority in the discussion, reflection, and dispensing of our duties as council members. Moment of silence. Maybe seat. Roll call real quick. Chad? Here. Roger? Present. Randy?
Present.
Dave? Here. Matt? Present. Colton?
Here.
Okay. Need a motion for the approval of the minutes of the January 17th meeting.
So moved.
Second. Vote.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're going to deviate from the agenda real quick. We went into executive session. We have a couple executive sessions that we need to discuss. So, first one will be David Hodge on the industrial development on 752. Little motion for.
Make a motion.
Second. And then we'll have one for employees. It'll be talk with Bert Klein about the village administrator, the office manager position, service superintendent with consolidation, utility and service, and the pay ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Okay.
I motion we resume the regular schedule meeting.
Vote.
Yes.
Continue. All right. Any presentations or?
And then, was there any action for,
No,
No action.
no action?
Either one, either executive session. Departmental reports. April?
Yeah, I have a couple things. So we can leave the calendar as it is. I made the mistake on Juneteenth. I don't know why I had it as it was on a Monday and it actually is not. So we can amend the calendar and meet that Monday, or we can keep it because we bumped it to a Tuesday because I was thinking Juneteenth was on a Monday. So do we want to keep that keep the schedule as it is, or do we want to meet on that Monday?
What's Monday, the 17th?
Yeah.
I'm Mondays.
Yeah.
Mondays are
Monday.
cold, I like Mondays. What are we doing around the 4th of July that we're, what was our calendar? Because we're talking about 17th, the 3rd of July is, no, I'm talking about June, forget it, David, don't worry about it.
Okay. So we want to amend the schedule to go back to meet on a Monday then.
Yes, yeah, Monday's cool.
And then also I need an approval of an invoice to National Water Services in the amount of $19,156.25 for emergent repairs down at the well field.
So moved.
Second.
Vote.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Vote.
Thank you. And I have one final thing. Sorry. And I just need something in the minutes. They want something in the minutes saying that Steve is okay to sign checks at the bank. So if somebody wants to make a motion,
Make a motion. Second. So second. Aye.
Yes.
Opposed?
Yeah.
and that is all I
Anything
have.
else? Okay. Chief, yours.
Not tonight, I don't.
Okay. Adam?
The only thing that I have is to follow up on your guys' meeting that you had with 6 Plum Street. They started work today. As soon as they dug outside the home, there was a piece of piping that was right in the middle of where the sanitary was to be. So what our recommendation to them was to, which we talked to the homeowner before, was to raise it above the pipe and to go across and then down. But we'll see what they're gonna do tomorrow, because they talked about calling Columbia Gas and having them drill the line to see if it's an active gas line, because it's not sure whether it's water or gas at this point. And it does make a difference of whether we can relocate it or not. So if we would have to relocate the water line, which right now isn't an option, because we did this whole thing going down the sidewalk to avoid going into the street. The valve to that line is out there in the middle of the street. So,
Out to that water line is in the middle of the street?
yes, but it's been covered up, so, so we'll work with them on that tomorrow morning early, to come to that resolution. The other people that were here tonight, they were coming in to talk about us possibly putting in a backflow preventer into their property. They have had problems for a decade, going back with ridiculous notes. And, what we found was that their line was protruding into our line. It was a hammer tap, and they were protruding into our line 4 to 6 inches. And then where we used to have flow that would come by there, that flow has since been diverted and doesn't come by there anymore, so it's a very slow moving line. So we cut it out, so that way they're not protruding into our line so much. And I've put it on like a 3-month maintenance program to have it washed out every 3 months to make sure that it doesn't back up through that line again. And so I did get a cost estimate of what it would cost to have a backflow preventer put into their house. I talked with Kevin with KRP Plumbing. He said he can come in and, to make a long story short, less than $2,000, $1,500 to $2,000 to put a backflow preventer into that home. I have recommended that we do put backflow preventers in all new houses. The reason being is you got $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 homes going in, and they're putting in these finished basements. And if we put in a backflow preventer in these basements, and we cut it to our specs, it doesn't cost Ashville, it's gonna cost the homeowner, but you're looking at less than $2,000 to protect a full done basement. And if they do it when they construct it, like I said, it's under the $2,000 limit, it's where they can get in and clean it. It's something I highly recommend that the village put into their specs, because it's a win-win. One, if we do back up, it don't back up into their home, and we don't end up paying deductibles for whatever reason, if the insurance would say it was our fault. Two, no phone calls, because basements aren't really backing up in the midst of us having a problem. So, but that's something that has to be put in our specs that hasn't been put in our specs yet. Other than that, unless you have any questions, I have nothing else.
I thought we talked about that last year or something, and Chris said it wasn't a requirement.
It's not a requirement, but here's the thing. Even though it's not a requirement, and just because other municipalities aren't doing it, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be the leader in doing that.
Yeah,
And-
I disagree.
And if it's not costing us anything, on a $500,000 house, then people's not gonna care about $2,000. You back up into their basement to their $50,000 finished basement, then they're gonna really care, and they're gonna be upset. So it's just trying to prevent this. You don't have to do it on the houses that are slabs, but the houses that have basements.
Wouldn't this issue need to go in front of planning and zoning if that was something we needed to look at?
Yeah, that shouldn't be.
Yeah. It needs to be brought to them. planning and zoning.
Just a point of order, because the newest subdivision coming in is D.R. Wharton, they're all slabs.
They're all slabs.
So none of those houses would be
Have to
applicable.
be an update in our ordinance.
Correct.
Yes.
We
Yes.
would have to go through P and Z first.
Well, we're in the process of trying to update our ordinances, so that's something we should maybe look at.
And in fact, our Crossroads first meeting is coming up, isn't it?
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning.
So, other than that, unless any of you have questions of me, I have nothing else. Okay?
Thanks.
Samantha?
Not tonight.
Greg?
Nothing, sir.
Tax administrator, Wayne, do we got anything? Jimbo?
The only thing I have is the well field. We finally got the approval from the EPA in writing, so we're good to go use that, that new well down there. That's the only thing I got.
Where were we at on Earnhardt Hill hookup?
Do you want to expand on that? I
Yeah, it's in my
have not
report.
talked to Lewis at all.
Yeah, I could do that in my report. So let me go ahead and start. You have a written report in front of you. On February 8th, the Forestry Board that you've approved will be meeting. We will have the second reading of the ordinance changing the board member numbers. If you can't waive this third reading, I would encourage you to go ahead and adopt that if you can do that this evening so that they can actually start meeting and acting upon, because that changes the quorum. So when that legislation comes up. I was able to execute the agreement for the $10,000 from the Park District. I've also been able to submit a $30,000 grant for a $43,000 project, and that will involve the abandonment of the wells once we get our process moving forward. Now moving on to what's going on with water. There are three loans that are being submitted, or nominations to DEPA. One of them will be for the water plant, another for water tower, and the connection to Earnhardt Hill. And I think we can discuss this more certainly at committee of the whole. But the general plan is going through some modifications, and one of the results of that general plan was to meet with Circleville, which we did, and Earnhardt Hill and P3. And one of the presentations that was submitted by Louis McFarland from P3, or from Earnhardt Hill, was to have a connection line between Circleville and Ashville that could potentially provide water services on a large scale to Ashville. I think there's a lot more details to be worked out on that. You have in front of you, for example, and I'll be talking about that more next week, is projected revenues from all the growth going on and how we can actually use those funds that are coming in and what funds we may need in addition to that. It appears the cost estimate for connecting to Circleville would be something like $10 million. The building of a new water plant would be something like $10 million, under $11 million for each one of those. I think there's pros and cons. Jake from Jones and Henry submitted information on that. Again, I'll share it, we'll send that to you, we can discuss that, I think, at committee of the whole in a lot more detail. Special event permit modification, the third reading is this evening. Second reading on the annexation for Harbarger. Novellis, we had a very good discussion on their sanitary line in cooperation with D.R. Horton and possibly Carter Lumber. The working of all those three entities together may actually end up saving money for all of them. The sanitary line would actually service both the Dresbeck property, the Novellis property, and then also potentially again Carter Lumber. Carter Lumber already has a lift station that goes down Miller Avenue. But they also want to develop the property that's on 752 that they've acquired. That may necessitate connecting to this force main that will go down, would be actually southbound, connect to the D.R. Horton line that's going basically through the distillery. All the easements are acquired. It could be really a very good project. I've already sent communication to Brian Zest to work on a multi-developer agreement that will allow each party to participate in that. More to come. Next week at Committee of the Whole, Mary Miller will be here for Asheville Market to address questions. I would also like to discuss something I presented to you, have that in front of you, and that is the Montrose Group proposal for economic development and NCA assistance. And I sent an email out today to see what's going on with a nice pithiest review of that agreement, because I'd like to get that moving forward also. And just to let everyone know, our office is going to be closed on the 19th, our President's Day. Also, we have now 2 areas that we've done stop modifications. That's on Center Street and West Station Street. It's a 3-way stop now and a 4-way stop that's been there for a while on East and East Station Street. And Innocent Walton Park District. Again, the capital loan request has been made to Ohio 2526. More loans are being requested. What's good about this particular one is this is a grant, and the default would actually be under 4% loan, as I recall, or around 4%. Ohio Public Works Commission typically are 0 interest loans or grants, and we will be pursuing that. I think in front of you, you have an outline of what the 762 intersection project is. That was sent to me, and I thought it would be a good idea if you had that information. And to move forward, this would be my last slide on the gift of the goose. It's a matter of encouraging each other to do better. And again, I hope you're reading the book. I just gave Chad a copy of it.
Thank you.
I think there's a lot of information there that is applicable and give you a benefit to our staff, to yourselves, and to our community as a whole. It actually reinforces purpose. And with that, I'm done.
Any committee reports?
We're gonna have park committee next Monday,
5:30 next Monday.
5:30.
We had a finance committee meeting tonight and did an audit of the, whatever quarter it was, April.
Financial?
And everything looked in order from what we could tell, so.
Had a quick utility meeting the other day, we selected a chairperson, and then what Adam discussed about 6 Plum Street, just some issues going on with that.
All right, legislation, we don't have anything for first reading. For second reading, we got 3. We've got a motion for the second reading, ordinance 2024-02 for the Hardburger property.
So,
Second.
Vote.
Yes.
Opposed? 2024-02, an ordinance to accept the George Hardbarger and Samantha Hardbarger, here referred to as the landowner, Bruce A. Moore, Gordon and Reese Scully, and Second, herein referred to as the agent. Application for annexation by the landowner and agent, ET, all the annexation of certain territory containing 2.432 plus or minus acres in Harrison Township, County of Pickaway, State of Ohio, to the Village of Ashville and declaring an emergency.
can we waive the second, third reading and just get this done?
Well, this is the second.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading and waive the second, third, as is the rest.
This is the second reading.
Okay,
Yeah.
waive the third.
Yep.
Second,
Second.
vote.
Yes, yes.
Who made the second? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
2024-03, an ordinance to amend Chapter 522.04, the motion for the first read, or for the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Vote.
Aye.
2024-03, an ordinance to amend Chapter 522.04, Tree Advisory Board, and declaring an emergency.
What reading is this?
Second reading.
We approve the second reading, suspend the rules of council, waive the third reading, and adopt the emergency measure.
Second, vote.
Yes.
And the last one, a resolution 01-2024, for agreement between DR Horton. I've got a motion for the second reading.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
vote.
Yes.
01-2024, resolution authorizing the village administrator and fiscal officer to execute a development agreement with DR Horton and declaring an emergency.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion to second, vote.
Yes.
And for third reading, 2024-01, and this is disturbing the peace ordinance. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Approval. Second.
Yes.
Second.
Vote.
Yes.
2024-01, an ordinance to amend the disturbing the peace section, including ordinance 2012-08, chapter 509, and declaring an emergency. Do I have a motion for approval?
So,
Second.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Yes.
The resolution will be up for third reading, next regular meeting. Unfortunately, Franklin talked about a lot of it. I went to a P3 meeting, and there was some discussion on the 19th of January. And then we met with Watcom on the lift station for around Novellis and that. I had the cybersecurity meeting with EMA and D and Department of Homeland Security for the infrastructure, which was a pretty good meeting. And then met with their Heart and Circleville on the regionalization of water.
Mayor, could I add one more thing? On the meeting we had on security, it's very likely in the next couple months, we will go to two-part authentication for emails, which will involve all the asheville.gov emails. That, just to prepare you, that's going to be forthcoming. It just has to. And more details on that will be coming. And certainly we'll do the communication of how to do that in the future. It may be a download of an app, authentication app. You may already have it on your phone. But if you don't, it's something that InfoLink will be involved with adding. So that when you log in, your password would be only one part of that login. And there would be a second authentication process, I thought.
No audience comments or anything. Council member comments, final comments? Chad?
Nope, all good.
Randy?
Glad to have Chad. Welcome.
Dave?
oh, Chad, nice meeting to walk in on. They're not all like this.
Nope.
Colton?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Vote.
Yes.
Aye.